Welcome to JJ with Joy. I wanted to show you the result from my netted cover piece that I did. I used this wash and gone stabilizer, and let me show you what it is. Actually, I didn't know what it was, so let's just have a little peekaboo. So it's this really thin, like clothy looking stuff, but it washes away when you put it underwater. And I did a video on this cover before I put it together, and I'll tell you what I learned and what I didn't learn. So anyway, let me pull it open so you can see the full cover. It looks so cool, and I had seen a few people do this cover, but this was my rendition of it, and I used an old quilt, bed cover. It's not a quilt, it's a bed cover, and I had dyed it up. It reminded me of my mother had one years ago when I was little. So lots going on this. I do want to share it though. On the cover piece, I just put down pieces of randomness. And I didn't know about paper. This is paper under here, and I covered it up, most of it, but it did not fall apart when I did it. And then I just sewed up and down with that stabilizer on it, and then I washed it away. And the thing I didn't tell you in the other video, because I didn't know I was going to do it, is I did go down to the sink and actually wash it under the water to make it stay down, or it just felt kind of gummy afterwards. All right, anyway, enough of this. I love this little guy. He's upside down, hanging from a tree, and these two, and this is a real picture, so they're in another one of those. But as we get into it, I didn't like this stuff here, and I ended up putting this sari silk through it. I added a old-time stick pin, that's what you call it, with a little jewel on it. I thought she kind of added a lot to the picture here. This is the same kind of stuff this is, but I wanted it to pop. So the way I made the cover was I just put a piece of, it's a feed sack is what it is. I used a feed sack piece, and then I put a piece of vellum, a vellum picture underneath this netted stuff, and then I sewed it down. What I would have done differently had I known, so this would be a little more loosey-goosey and not look so sewn together and perfect. I kind of like the looseness of the cover to be a little looser. I probably would have sewed it just like around the edges here to get it on the vellum, and then once I sewed this stuff in, because I did add more, I added this piece and this piece, and I would have sewed more down, but I wish I would have not done that first, because there's a lot of sewing going on, and I like the loose piece, the looseness of it. So anyway, moving right along, I put in real pictures that I had purchased from somewhere. This has got a lot of stuff going on. This is an old envelope. It's very vintage. The picture, it's one of those photo booths from way back yonder when. Let's see, what else? This is a postcard, the back of a postcard. I wanted it to show through. We have fibers. We have tea bag. That's a tea bag. Here's the rest of the tea bag right here, but that's just the top of the tea bag. I did marks on it. I wrote on here. Let's see. Okay, moving right along. I have this tag on here. This was a vintage, probably 1920s business card. That's what that was. I thought it was a postcard, but it's a business card. See, it's been so long since I made it. I used vintage papers all underneath it. This is washi tape, fabric washi, that is Tim Holtz. I did some hand sewing, stitching, just random stitching everywhere. Use these little pieces, vintage paper. This is the waterproof tape. Over here, I did a video on how I'm not sure I put it on YouTube though. I just used I crumpled up pictures and I used coffee dye on the pictures to make them look really aged. And it was pictures that were pretty much ruined. Most of them were ruined first. And that's the way I did it. Let's see, this was just a fabric piece. I've watched Susan Taylor Brown and she does those kind of things on YouTube. So I put that in there. This was just a picture, Tim Holtz picture, and I took I made my own, I took a cinch. Boy, I'm having trouble talking with that today. A cinch machine and transparency, and then I just used alcohol inks and made my own transparency. But their little faces, pretty much, I lined it up on 2 of them. But then I stamped on it as well to make that. A little piece of parchment paper, a little fuzzy wuzzy, I don't know. And just sewed in different pieces. Over here, again, it's vintage paper underneath. It's a vintage card, I think. And just layered it. This little girl, another crumpled up. I used the coffee dyeing and I crumpled the video, or the picture, not a video. Oh my goodness. I sewed across stuff, and this is just handmade paper type stuff there. The next page, I have some of this in my shop. This is just, let me show you. I have, where is it? Here it is. It's great for layering down. I have this in my shop. It's a vintage 1920s. It was a ledger, and it was the carbon copy from the ledger. And it's in Italian writing. And so I use these pages down on here, and I do a glue bath over the top of them. I have a little cheesecloth. This is some handmade specialty paper, and another picture over here. I love this little girl. I think she is adorable. Their bike is broken. I kind of covered up the bike, but her bike is broken and she's doing the, oh no, and it's a picture out of a magazine is what it is. I did a little writing on black with a white pen. This is very vintage here. Again, some of this tissue paper, it has numbers up in the corner, so that's what that is. And some of it will have this here. Over here, I had purchased this stuff from Penny. She has a Facebook group. I can link it if anybody's interested, but she does a molasses bath on her stuff, and I don't know if she has any available or not. My paper started ripping, so I just added a little glue and did that. And a bulb pin there. These ladies, this is vintage Italian papers here as well. I did do some looping sewing there. Put a little, this is out of a Etsy shop somewhere. I scrunched this together, sewed over it, and made a tab because it needed something on the center was kind of sunken in from the edge, if you can see. I would have put it down here, but I can't, and I'll show you why in a second. I just used inks and a little gesso, put some cardboard on there. It's just a lot of fun. I was given this for Christmas. A lady made these. I think they're polymer clay, and just different stitches, and again, some of that Italian papers as well. And here we have the lady, and I've done stitching up here at the top. And again, I just magazine page here, and a little bit of gesso, numbers, you name it, a tab, throw it all on there. This page, I don't care for this yellow. It was kind of bright, so I did kind of ink over it. This is just a frame, old vintage frames that they put around like school pictures and stuff. And I just tore off a piece of it and am using it. And here I have just in white writing, I made these little scrap coasters. On the bottom, I have this little light bulb and a little snap thing that I added in. This is from a magazine. Over here, I saw an example of this on, I think, Pinterest or Instagram, and I loved the way she did it, so I just had to copy it. Certified, we have little things there, tab here, folded that over, and put a film strip there. And over here, I don't know if you can see the shimmer shine of that. I added a little acrylic ink out there and a tab. And I put little holes in here. I punched holes and put little pieces there. More tape. I put a frame, one of these label frames over the top of a piece of just fabric. And there's the little bit of Paris in there. This is a vintage pin that I did here. And up here, I thought, when am I going to use this? Never know. But I put that on there. Did a little mixed media art here. I thought since there was an M here that the Mike, this kind of reminded me of a guy in my school, so I put Mike P. This guy, I just assumed that he might have a little bottle. You know, never know back then. And this is the acetate page that I put under the front and the back cover. I just had a little piece left over, and it was just a digital kit, and I made it into vellum, not acetate, excuse me. So there's the back of it, and there's the top and the bottom and the edge. So I hope you like it. If you do, give me a thumbs up. If you want to try this, let me know you tried it. I would love to hear back from you what you've learned as well. So like it, share it, subscribe, and ring the bell if you'd like to see more from me. As for today, remember your day is full of choices, so choose joy.